With more than 100 years of experience between the four of them, covering Minnesota high school athletics, the Minnesota Sun newspaper's sports editors bring you Sun on Sports.
Welcome back to Sun on Sports, again joined by John Sherman and Nick Clark. I'm Mike Shaughnessy. Nick, we're previewing Northwest Suburban Conference football in this segment, and seems like things are starting to sort themselves out a little in the conference.
Yeah, as kind of we expected, you get to the halfway point of the season and some things start to be more clear. What's clear this year in the Northwest Suburban is, while it may be the usual suspects doing what they do, they're doing it in different ways. It's been an interesting start to the season up there. Andover's kind of been, I don't want to use the word surprise team, but they've been the team that's kind of come up and maybe taking control of a league that they weren't expected to do a whole lot early on this year. Yet they've been strong. They have an unbelievable passing attack that spread offense has got up to Andover as well, and they're running it there. They've been real good so far. There's been some questions about who they've played. We'll start to find out in the next couple of weeks. They have Blaine and Champlin on the schedule yet, so we'll find a lot more about Andover. Blaine's a team that beat Champlin in week 4. That was week 4 in what was a heck of a ball game, 31-28, and both those teams were at 3-1 through 4 weeks, and we kind of expected that. Those are the two teams that were supposed to be on top of this league and kind of controlling. It's been interesting. Blaine in the second year of changing the whole dynamic of his football team and going to the spread. Last year it worked so well, Prep Bowl. This year they've picked up right where they left off. Champlin's been different. They've had to change some things about they were such a typical grind it out, turn around, hand the ball off team for so long. They've gotten their quarterback James Harvey involved more this year than they have in years past. Brandon Marcourt, obviously, we've talked endlessly about him on this show and what he's been able to do. But then they have some receivers, Devon Knorr, Blair Dietrich, been in and out of the lineup with some injuries. A couple other guys, Aaron Gigler's one who's been catching the football a lot, and they've had to, because usually Champlin can win 14-0, 21-7, games like that. This year, defensively, they've struggled to keep people out of the end zone. They've been in a lot of these shootouts. They're comfortable in them, which is, if you want to take anything out of it, the close games they've been comfortable. But thus far, they've needed that offense to put up points for them able to win games.
Nick, the Park Center Pirates have had some lean times in football. Enrollment issues have dropped them to, I believe, Class 4A now. It looks like this week they are being presented with an opportunity for a possible victory.
What might be their lone opportunity in the conference? Now, you go talk to head coach Rufus Bess, and he'll tell you different. He thinks they've been in every game this year, and you look at some of how the games have played out and what the final scores have been, and they could easily have 2 wins. They had Maple Grove on the ropes, they had Elk River on the ropes. In the end, they just weren't able to get any stops defensively, and that's kind of been their downfall. They've been just fine offensively, scoring plenty. Quarterback Kevin Monkham has had some real nice games. Tailback Robert Nelson, through 4 games, had over 600 yards. He dislocated an elbow in the loss to Osseo, which was a homecoming loss in week 4. He's out till the playoffs, it sounds like. So that's going to be, finding a way to replace him is going to be a struggle. But Rufus, or Coach Best, still thinks they're going to be able to score plenty, which is a good sign for a team looking for a win, because they're going to need some points. Coon Rapids, it's a home game this week. Coon Rapids was after an 0-4 start in the league as well. And Park Center's a lot better than they have been in years past. This is Coach Best's 3rd year with the team. 0-9 year 1, 0-9 year 2. So this is the year now. He was 0-4 heading into week 5. So he's looking for the win. His first win with the team, and if it's going to happen, this might be the week. And they're building for something. They really believe that once they get into the section playoffs, they're going to have a chance to go on somewhat of a run. They are a 4A school playing in a 5A league, playing against teams that nobody else in their section is seeing. And this is a section that includes Totino Grace, Orono, Spring Lake Park, Benilde St. Margaret, some good football teams. But I don't think any of us at this table could sit here and say, well, yeah, any of those teams outside of possibly Grace are on level with Blaine, Champlin, Andover, and some of these Northwest Suburban Conference teams they played. So there's chances for victories at Park Center this year, which is something they need.
And you kind of touched on something I was going to ask. So they figure to go into the Class 4A playoffs with not a very good record, but potentially could make some noise once they get there.
They'll be a threat if they can figure out a way to wrap some guys up defensively and get some stops. They can play with anybody because they've proven against some of these fantastic defenses in their conference that they can move the ball, and they've scored touchdowns. And they'll get Robert Nelson back to the playoffs. That's going to be a huge boost by then. Their offensive line's been fantastic. They got a bunch of big bodies they throw up there. It's just defensively they haven't been able to stop. So if they can get some stops come playoff time, watch out because they'll go into that section. They'll have the size and the skill to push some people around and score points. So they might be an 0-8 team going in, but they'll be a threat come section time. I can promise you that.
Well, thanks, Nick. Coming up in segment 3 is a preview of this week's Lake Conference games as well as some other football games from involving other schools from our coverage area. Join us.
For the scores and more, tune in daily to mnsun.com/sports. And tune in every Saturday morning to Sun on Sports on AM 950, the voice of Minnesota.